Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Turin here, and today, guys, we're going to play the Dwarves against the Wood Elves. So we're going to get Big Papa High King Thorgrim, we're going to kind of strip down these abilities a little bit here, and we're going to get the Great Book of Grudges, which gives plus 12 melee attack to allies and a 40-meter radius. So on top of that, when I go with High King Thorgrim, I usually like to go a little bit wider, and honestly, Dwarf Warriors can kind of hold their own against, like, the Eternal Guards and things like that. So I think it'll pay off, and I think it should be A-okay, boys. On top of that, we're going to get some Cordlers, which actually trade very, very effectively with the Wood Elf missiles. They are armored, they have shields, and again, have that base magic resistance. So against Starfire shafts and things like that, they're going to be very, very resilient. So we have some good armor piercing. I feel like the cannon, honestly, especially a chevroned up cannon, will be very, very effective at like taking out Treekin and those type of things. So I think we're covered there. So aside from that, maybe we want to get the Althar's Raiders, and we want to get them some Thunders. Thunders are actually like really, really good at dealing with like Treekin type armies. Granted, most people are just going to bring Eternal Guards against the Dwarves because they do have the traditional AP. So let's see here. What else do we want to get? I feel like some Rangers could be like pretty cool here. So, but the problem with Rangers is they trade like much less efficiently against the Wood Elf missiles. So yeah, the Ironbreakers are so cool. I could get those guys, but I feel like Slayers are just like an absolute staple in this build. So, oh yeah, we almost forgot the Grumbling Guard, of course, which would have been pretty bad. So, so let's cut a Dwarf Warrior here. Let's get a group of Slayers here. So we have the Grumbling Guard in the front line to give them that Vigor aura. This is pretty expensive here, so I think we can actually like chevron down this cannon a little bit and just get like another like Dwarf Warrior or something. So yeah, so let's kind of get that, but man, it does lose out on quite a bit. But having that anti-large is really nice for like shooting at Wild Riders and other units like that. So let's go ahead and just get a Dwarf Warrior here. And yeah, we have a pretty wide army right now, but I think that should be fine. The Dwarf Warriors, even with their 85 armor, it's hard for like Wild Riders to get through to them. So the one unit that is gonna do pretty well against them is the Eternal Guard. And Treekin are okay, but again, Treekin are with their magic damage are going to have a pretty big mitigation. Hopefully with my cannon fire and the Althar's Raiders, I can be able to cut down the Treekin because they do have those armor-piercing great weapon missiles that are pretty gangster. So, and again, it is an open field map, so I feel like it's pretty conducive to the Dawi playstyle. Definitely not a lot of force for my opponent to hide in. And guys, thankfully they did limit the amount of arrows on Arrow of Kurnus. That was probably the most frustrating thing about this matchup. And honestly, whenever I saw Wood Elves, I would just play my competitive Vampire Counts builds just so I wouldn't have to deal with it. Not to say I would win. They would still sometimes beat me, of course. But, it was more headstrong and aggressive and fast-paced, and you could, they couldn't hide from you as easily. But with the Dwarves, obviously, you don't really have any, like, way of chasing down mobile units. I mean, even, like, a Waystalker or whatever that unit's called. I'm just, like, blanking right now. It could run and hide from you eternally. Like, the only thing that you have that could probably catch it would be, like, a group of Slayers. But then if you overextend the Slayers, they get, like, rode down and kind of cycle charged and all that kind of nasty stuff. So, so we kind of want to find a slope that's nice. This rock could be a little something we could use like to our advantage here, but I feel like this hill here is pretty good. So let's go ahead and put this guy right. Actually, that's like right on the deployment zone though. So let's actually just go in the center. It should be fine. So in the front line, we're going to go ahead and get the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass and some Dwarf Warriors here. So we're going to have the line like so. It looks like a little bit of lag. So hopefully the potatoes are staying calm tonight, but it looks like they should get there in just a moment. So great. So we'll put these missiles in the secondary line right here, and they'll trade pretty efficiently, and they'll do a ton of damage against the Wood Elf, the Eternal Guard, who have very, very light armor themselves. So we're going to put this guy right here. I'm trying to think, like, his cav would probably be more likely to come through here. So what we'll do is we'll actually deploy the cannon, like right over here. That should be fine. Yeah, I think that's okay. Good. So it's a little bit of a funky formation, but we're going to have some Slayers on guard duty in the back line, and hopefully they can, do their thing there. So we'll put those guys there. We're going to put the Cordlers a little further back because we're going to actually be advancing them anyway. So no worries, guys. No worries. We're good to party. High King Thorgrim's ready. He's got his grudge book out. I'm sure there's plenty of elves in there. So let's go ahead and set these guys up here. We're going to put one Runesmith on the guard duty because, again, Runesmiths are very, very good for like breaking charges. So let's kind of just piddle with our formation back here a little bit where we have more open room. So these guys can kind of sit right here in the wing, and we do have some Dwarf Warriors who we can use in the back line. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for our whole army. So let's go ahead and just deploy them up in the front. Because sometimes, we might want to advance, and then what we do is just leave the Slayers and a Runesmith back here to deal with the enemy Lord. And we can, of course, turn the Quarrelers and, provide some supporting fire. But he's going to have to come to me. So do we want to deploy up here? I feel like this cannon needs to be like further back to not hit my own troops. So let's go ahead and deploy this back here. We'll deploy this back here, and we'll pull the Slayers back here. I don't know if this is like the most effective deployment, but we're going to see if it works out. So cool. So yeah, we're in position here. It looks like the Grudge Thrower can start shooting. So we probably want to start shooting at his Glade dudes over here. And thankfully he did bring a Tree Man, which is going to be a great target for our cannon. So we're going to kind of position right here and just march over here. And hopefully the Althar's Rangers can just get some free fire on that Tree Man. They'll absolutely cut it to pieces. So Our fire's going right away. He does have some of these Glade Guards, and they're going to get routed so incredibly quick, and he did pick the correct ones. And you can see the cannons shooting at these guys, done a little bit of HP damage, and yeah, those missiles are going to get devastated by the Godlobber. And the Godlobber did get its cost raised, which was a little bit unfortunate, but you know what, guys? I cannot complain. It is still a great unit. So he does have some Wild Riders coming in pretty hard over here, so what we're going to do is kind of deploy these guys right on top. We'll put these guys here, and yeah, these Dwarf Warriors will obviously use to zone them over here. So cool. He's advancing. It looks like he's getting ready to party, but we're doing some devastating damage for sure. And the cannon, where do we want to turn and shoot? Maybe we turn and shoot at Wild Riders. I feel like that'll be a little more effective than shooting at that like giant tree. So there's going to be a little bit of crossfire here, but hopefully they won't like hit one another. I'm a little concerned about that. So our guys are just kind of being zoned out just a little bit. So we're actually going to scoot up just a little bit. I'm not sure where he wants to go, but we do have the Slayers over here. We do have a Rune of Wrath and Ruin and all kinds of other goodies as well. So let's go ahead and get these guys kind of shooting over here, and we can have them shoot at those Glade Guard right there. So great. So I don't mind just like kind of sitting and trading here, to be honest. So we're going to kind of get those guys zoned here. We do have Runesmith right here. So let's go ahead and turn here, and we'll have these guys shoot here. And we should be A-okay. I'm more concerned about, yeah, and you can see the Rune of Wrath and Ruin goes down. He's going to be taking, yeah, we probably want the Quarrelers to actually keep firing at his Glade dudes over here. So we're going to go ahead and switch this guy here, and yeah, I think we're good to go. So the Slayers are going to engage on these Wild Riders right here. Unfortunately, these ones do kind of get through, and they'll probably be able to shut down that cannon, but I think it's okay. I probably should have left like another group of Dwarf Warriors there. So we're going to go ahead and advance right here. We're going to advance right here. And the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are just going to absolutely can these guys. So yeah, so we're getting some good trading right here. We want to pull these guys over here and get them in position. And the Grumbling Guard, we can go ahead and push up here as well. And the Slayers in the back line doing okay. Not as good as I thought they would, but it looks like they're going to be able to finish off some of those Wild Riders, which is going to be great. So in the front line, we are engaging. Let's go ahead and use all of these different runes. We'll use the Master Rune here. So a big blunder in the beginning, I would say, with you know, letting those guys engage in that way. But our missiles are trading pretty effectively. So in the back line, we do have these Slayers. He might be able to overwhelm us back here even. It's definitely a little bit stressful. So we're going to start shooting at these Treekin here. We're going to pull these Dwarf Warriors to intercept those guys. And yeah, those War Dancers around the side are going to be a little tricky to deal with. But I think our Slayers, like, we traded resources somewhat efficiently, I would say. So let's go ahead and use that Master Rune of, well, not Master Rune, but the Rune. And High King Thorgrim, I'm tempted to chase after that Branch Wraith back there, but I definitely want to, and these Dwarf Warriors do intercept those War Dancers, which is quite nice. So we also do have these great weapons kind of going after this Tree Man here. And we do have some troops kind of sneaking by us here. So we're going to push these guys into melee. We're going to pull some Dwarf Warriors in the back. And our Slayers back here were able to actually clean up shop, which is great. And unfortunately, he was able to deal with our crews, but you know, he took pretty massive HP damage. So these guys are going to collapse on the back of these War Dancers here, and unfortunately, we are going to take a bit of a beating here. So we do have a Rune of Wrath and Ruin coming up relatively shortly. Do we want to pull some troops back? Yeah, let's pull the Grumbling Guard back and see if we can just like sandwich these guys real quick. So High King Thorgrim's doing pretty good. It looks like the Treekin isn't in the best shape, and we do get our crew back. So thankfully, we were able to salvage some of our artillery pieces. We do have some Slayers coming in to get a rear charge, and they'll do pretty good against War Dancers. Granted, it will be an atrocious trade. It's going to be a good one nonetheless. So our missiles, I think, are secure now. So we're going to go ahead and pull these guys back and kind of reform ranks. We're just going to keep High King Thorgrim and the boys fighting, and let's get these Dwarf Warriors kind of pushed over here as well. So yeah, we got to make sure to get this back online and start shooting at his missile pieces. That's going to be really, really good stuff. So yeah, we can position these guys here, and it looks like these guys can go here, and let's get this Runesmith here. Make sure to use Rune of Wrath and Ruin. What a wild fight for sure. I mean, you know, some sloppy play, but definitely, you know, not something I can't come back from. So we do have our artillery piece. Artillery, it's kind of a bit of a tongue twister for me. So we're actually going to have them shoot at this Treekin here. We're going to have them start throwing their throwing axes, and over here, where do we want to shoot? So yeah, we want to take them out of that mode, obviously, and make sure they're shooting their missiles. And we do have a Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which is going to be quite nice. So we definitely want to look for, I don't know if Dryades are the best target, but I suppose it is based on what's left here. But we do have these armor-piercing missiles that are back online. We definitely have our Godlobber going again, which is going to be quite nice. So I'm expecting some Rudolphs to come in and start getting pretty ham there, but look how efficiently these Dwarf Warriors are trading with those War Dancers, which cost almost twice as much. So definitely a true testament to the armor of the Dawi. So they're definitely a proud people. So we're going to kind of advance over here with these. High King Thorgrim's in great shape, and he's definitely laying a smackdown on this Ancient Tree Man right here. So let's go ahead and switch over here and check on our runes. We do have 20 Slayers, and this Godlobber probably still, yeah, 36 kills is pretty good despite the circumstances. So we do have these armor-piercing missiles going in on the trees here, which is definitely great. We have some pressure on this Tree Man over here as well. And let's just get these guys back here and just have them chase down the remaining missiles in the back line. But he does have a Tree Man, so definitely brought a lot of like big monstrous units, which you don't see a lot of against the Dwarfs, because again, they do magic damage. So a lot of that, 500 weapon strength is going to be mitigated by those stats. So let's go ahead and start throwing those throwing weapons here. Just kind of keep focusing this guy down, and we can have the rest of these guys just kind of like circle beat this dude. And we want to keep High King Thorgrim close because he's providing a pretty big melee buff right there. And yeah, we can actually have the Slayers like chase this guy down. I think that's going to be nice. And let's switch the Godlobber onto the group that hasn't routed yet, and we should be good to go. So great, it looks like everything's shattering, and that is all she wrote. So the Dawi did pretty good for themselves, and you see these Dwarf Warriors, just absolute pimps over here, just doing some great work against these War Dancers for how cheap they are. So good stuff. Well played to my opponent. My initial kind of gauge of what I needed to protect my back line was pretty poor. The 2 Wild Riders, I should have just left a group of Dwarf Warriors back there, because the Dwarf Warrior like can tank Wild Riders for so long, and it would have allowed that Runesmith to really like augment them and, you know, essentially win that battle. I probably could have kept my cannon online even, but despite that, our frontline engagement went really well. We were able to kind of resecure our back line with the Quarrelers and all those guys, and you know, things went well. So we'll actually make this a double cast for you guys. So let's go ahead and just kind of keep rolling, keep having some fun. I know you guys were demanding more Dawi, so I'm trying to do you all proud. But I definitely want to experiment with some Chosen builds, like actual Chaos Chosen. I think, yeah, they're so much fun, and the Chosen with the shields actually seem to have some potential. They have very, very high combat stats with 60 plus melee defense and like 40 something melee attack, which is incredible. So yeah, so it looks like we found a match. So hopefully it loads in here, and we're facing off against the Oat Lord. So you know what? Let's play some Wood Elves. I don't really know how to play them. I'm pretty scrubbish. Like, I only know like the Haggard, Mel Gibson builds and Durthu builds, which I would say are not the competitive builds. So let's go ahead and get a Glady. We'll put her on a big scary dragon just for fun. I don't know if that's the best. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below. And we also want to get a Spellsinger with the Lore of Life, which again, I think is a staple. And Chaos could like try and play the Air Force game really aggressively, but honestly, I think we could probably kite them out. So let's go ahead here. And you know what? The dragon is slower. And if we put her on the Giant Eagle, she's going to have 110 move speed. So I think we're going to do that just in case we need to run away from Manticores. And so we have Earth Blood, and then we also have Regrowth. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty secure in the front line. So let's get some Eternal Guards over here. Again, armor piercing, anti-large, it can deal with Shaggots, trade somewhat efficiently with Chaos Warriors, and Deepwood Scouts. Do they have any AP on those guys? I feel like they don't, but I know they did get buffed a little bit, but we're still going to get the Starfire Shafts, just, you know, to have AP against the Warriors of Chaos. And then on top of that, let's go ahead. Do we want to try the Swift Shiver? Like, what is the percentage of slow on that? That's what I'd really be interested in finding out. But they do have stock, which is pretty nice. What is Forest Stalker? Oh, okay, so they aim faster and more precisely when in the forest, so that's a pretty cool mechanic there. So we're also going to get some Wild Riders there to kind of defend our back line, and aside from that, some Way Watchers could be pretty cool. But I think we're actually going to get some Deepwood Scouts, maybe? They do have 170 range, and I really want to try the Swift Shiver Shards. I wonder how good those are. So let's actually get a group of those, and like we'll test them out against Forsaken and see how well they do. So maybe we do want to cut one group of these and get some anti-large, although we have plenty of anti-large, but maybe we want some more in the back line. So let's get 2 regular Eternal Guards. And do we want to get like some Glade Riders with Hagbane tips? I feel like that's pretty good. They'll be good at like skirmishing down Forsaken and things like that. So we have a very scary firing line. And if the Chaos Lord gets like very aggressive, or whoever he brings, like Kolek, we can like Prey of an Othrama him and then just like focus him down, I'm thinking. So, but yeah, I'm not terribly used to playing with the Wood Elves, but you know, the more competitive builds I've seen, although some Treekin would be pretty nice, darn. It's okay, let's actually just go with a Wood Elf kind of centric build and see how it works. So yeah, I'm definitely fearing the Oat Lord. Man, yeah, Chaos, he's probably going to bring a ton of Forsaken, and Forsaken are just absolute monsters against the Eternal Guards. They can like crumble your front line incredibly quickly, so we're going to need to get some really good value from our Wild Riders, and then also, yeah, from our missiles, essentially, because the Glade Guards with the Starfire Shafts, I mean, Forsaken are technically armored units with 70 armor, give or take, so the armor piercing on the Starfire Shafts is going to be pretty devastating to them. And this is like a purely open field map, so hopefully we can, you know, really take advantage of the missiles here, but we don't have anywhere to hide. So that's the one downside of this. I mean, I'm sure if I were playing Chaos, I would prefer to be on this type of a map where I can like see everything, and when they do get exposed, there's nowhere to run. Like Forsaken can literally just like book straight across the field and get them. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, guys. Let's have some fun. Yeah, I know you guys were also demanding Wood Elves, so this is definitely going to be the People's Choice cast with some Dwarves and Wood Elves. So, but yeah, I've never been a fan of like Elves in any fantasy universes. I've always like, although I don't know much about the Wood Elves, not the Wood Elves, excuse me, against the High Elves or the Dark Elves in Warhammer lore, so maybe they could be cool and kind of change my opinion, but I've always liked the more gruff folk, like the Dawi and Dwarves and Lord of the Rings and, you know, all that kind of stuff, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Pretty cool map. This is actually one of my favorite maps. I'm a bit of a mouth breather when it comes to like map decisions. I don't like maps with a lot of terrain. I like maps that are just like simple and, you know, more like a chessboard. I don't know if I would call that a mouth breather, but I don't know, maybe you would. But yeah, that's just kind of my stylistic preference. So my apologies for the ranting, guys. It's just, you know, it's the nature of these live battlecasts. You just got to wait for the enemy potatoes to load in, and you know, it is, my computer's pretty quick, so it gets there and it does some work, but we can admire this nice mushroom right here. Definitely some high quality design on those guys. I think there's a few of them around the battlefield, so I wonder if they have any like terrain triggers, like if you walk over them, it slows you for a moment or something. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, guys, pretty excited for the lizard people. That's gonna be super fun, man. They're just gonna have, I'm sure they're gonna have like the stegodons, I think is what they're called. Man, those things are so freaking cool. All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and get down to business, guys. So we're gonna have the Eternal Guards in the front line. We're gonna keep them relatively like high and tight, just so they don't get They don't get penetrated. That's what she said. We're going to get these guys back here, and then we're also going to put these guys on the sides. They're probably honestly just going to get run over by Forsaken, but if he does come in hot with Forsaken, what we're going to want to do is intercept them with the Wild Riders, cycle charge them, kind of break their spirit, and then, you know, follow it from there. So our healer can kind of sit behind the front line. I think that should be fine. And let's see where else. So she's back here. We do have our spears. Oh, do we have an extra group of spears? Oh, those are actually those guys. I was wondering where my extra spearman was. So these guys do have the stock mechanic, so they can sit a little further back. We can kind of use them to support the back line. So if some Forsaken come like crashing down the flanks like here, we can like obviously intercept them. And hopefully, I wonder what the slow is on those. I'm actually really curious. If someone in the comments can tell me, maybe it's somewhere in the tooltip and I'm just missing it. But yeah, so we'll put these guys in group 3 like so. And maybe we'll deploy one over here and one over here. I think that should be okay. Yeah, so we'll put group 3, group 4, and group 5. So the Hagbane tips actually are also pretty cool here. I like them quite a bit. So these guys are good to go. Let's go ahead and hotkey up that group, and we can get her ready to go skirmish, and let's have some fun. So we actually have a ton of Chaos Warriors, which is going to be pretty scary. We got some Chaos Knights with lances. Let's go ahead and start shooting here. We'll kind of run up here, and we want to start poking away at Forsaken. And those are Chaos Warhounds. So how quick are they? So 94. Yeah, so we can get these guys up here to kind of cover them. And obviously, we're going to have some spooky, scary business, so we'll pull these guys back here. So good. So we're going to start skirmishing. He does have some Manticores, and it looks like he has Big Bird as well. Big Bird's definitely pretty scary, but we'll start shooting at those Forsaken. Make sure to put them in skirmish mode. And yeah, let's just start taking some pot shots at some of these great weapons. So it looks like he may have been expecting like... yeah, what is it called? Like a tree can or something, because he did bring some armor piercing, but Forsaken actually take a ton of damage from these Glade Riders with the Hagbane tip. So we're just kind of shooting in there, getting some freebies right now, but we're going to go ahead and kite back here in just a moment. And we did bring these Wild Riders up here just because if he did get like aggressive with the Hounds, we wanted to be able to kind of like ride them down and get aggressive in that sense. So we're going to pull these guys up and around as well. Just keep this Wood Elf Lord kind of scooting and shooting. So we're going to pull her back right now. Let's go ahead and move these missiles up here to kind of cover. And yeah, maybe we'll keep these Wild Riders back here to cover the Swift Shiver dudes over there. So yeah, we're getting some good free kills right now, but we definitely don't want to get caught out. So we're going to kind of run back here, and yeah, the Forsaken are really quick, so you can't play that dangerous game of like engaging close to them with the cavalry, because you know, again, he could start really doing some serious work. So the Glady's back. Let's go ahead. We will have an Arrow of Kurnus relatively soon, but man, this skirmish damage is just generating some really good value here. So let's just kind of keep pulling back, keep having some fun, and yeah, he's advancing right now, so we can advance our main line. I think that's probably fine. Or do we want to? Looks like he's advancing on me. So we're just going to kind of advance a little bit, and then we're just going to kind of take some pot shots in here on some of these Chaos Warriors. Just and you see these Hounds are like over chasing a little bit. So what we want to do is just like turn the Wild Riders and see if we can skewer them really quickly. So this other group we're also going to bring over there because I kind of feel that there's going to be a bit of a cav battle going on over here. So we do have an Arrow of Kurnus. So let's go ahead and just use that on some Forsaken over here, I guess. Yeah, again, I need to learn like how those abilities and like how they're best used, but the Wild Rider's doing a great job. They were able to shut down those Hounds, which is quite nice. So yeah, let's just kind of finish skewering these guys, and then we can just pull back from there. So the Chaos Knights are very slow, guys. They're very slow. They only have like 60 speed, and the Wild Riders are just going to definitely outclass them in terms of just raw speed. So we do have our missiles firing, so we definitely want to make sure that fire isn't shooting at shields. We wanted it armor, so he does have Chaos Warriors. So we're going to shoot at Chaos Warriors here. We're going to shoot at some of them here, and actually we want to be going after Forsaken. That's definitely going to be the more optimal of the choices there. So we're going to pull these guys back. We're also going to get our missiles back here as well. We do want our lady kind of, she can start poking at Sarthrael. I think that's going to be fine. So he's actually somewhat like exposed over here. So we're actually going to use a Prey of Anathrama on him and just snare him down and see if we can like, honestly, just like maybe burn him down. Like that could easily happen here. So we're going to kind of start shooting these guys and just reform ranks here. And these Wild Riders, we want to bring up and over to kind of help out over there. And yeah, so far so good. So we do get them with the Prey of Anathrama. We're getting some great focus fire. So we're just going to kind of keep shooting here. We'll engage these guys like so. And the Forsaken, we're going to kind of ride down here. And yeah, let's actually turn them and have them shoot right here. And the Wild Riders can engage right here. Let's reform ranks here. And yeah, so Sarthrael, oh, he has big missile resistance, doesn't he? I forgot about that. I think he does. So we're going to shoot here. We're going to pull these guys back just in case our front line collapses. We do want to use a big heal in the front line because, again, we are going to take quite a bit of damage from the Chaos Infantry. And yeah, the Wild Riders doing a pretty good job, but we want to kite out these Forsaken. We don't want to like fight them in sustained combat. But man, those Wild Riders put those guys in a can over here. So very good stuff so far. He does have some Manticores coming in, so we're just going to kind of keep kiting around, just get these Wild Riders running, and we'll make sure these guys are skirmishing. And what we want to do is cycle charge them. So we're going to finish off these guys. We do have some good missile fire, so let's start focusing at these Manticores right here, and let's go ahead and use our other Arrow of Kurnus. And yeah, we can shoot at some of those Chaos Knights over there, which is going to be pretty good. So let's get these guys shooting here. And the Wild Riders, we probably need to like engage right here on these Chaos Knights, to be honest. And yeah, because I don't know if we can play that game for too long. So let's pull these guys over here. Let's get these Wild Riders kind of collapsing on the flank over there against those Marauders. We are going to engage those Chaos Knights there, and hopefully we can do some some good work. But yeah, the Manticore is getting some good focus fire from our missiles. And guys, things are going pretty good, I think. It's hard to tell, to be honest, but we can start shooting over there as well. And in the front line, we do have some more healing, so we definitely want to use that regrowth just to kind of trigger that Earth Bloom. So let's go ahead and see who needs it. So we can use it on our Lord a little bit, and then we'll have the Lord actually like jump into melee and, you know, get that Manticore off. So great. So we want to get these Deepwood Scouts kind of out and about. We don't want them like kind of tied up here, but man, yeah, those Chaos Knights did some really good work against us. So over here, the Wild Riders were able to kind of collapse that flank, so we're going to pull them in the back to have them like help out against those Chaos Knights. And let's pull these spears back here as well and see if we can use them to help out in the back line. So we do have an Earth Bloom here, or an Earth Blood, so let's go ahead and use it on this line here. That seems to be the most like questionable area. So we're going to split these guys into two groups. So the Ever Chosen, or the Big Bird, or whatever you guys want to call him, he can't do too much work against us. So yeah, we'll get a cycle charge here on these Forsaken. And if that Manticore ends up landing, we can go after it with these Wild Riders. So he actually does land. He decides to land like right on top of those guys, which is fine. We'll go ahead and send some of those Azurai Spears over there. And yeah, so my Lord was actually able to take out that Manticore, which is quite nice. So let's kind of fly it back over here, start shooting at Big Bird. And we can start shooting here with the missiles. And yeah, our Wild Riders doing some pretty good work. The kiting is going well here, and they're doing their job in the back line, guys. So we do tie up that Manticore. We're going to get some spears on it. And let's just kind of start shooting at those hounds before they get there. That would probably be pretty nice. And let's get these missiles a little bit further back. So we do have a Prey of an Athrama. So what I'm going to do right now is kind of slow down Big Bird to let these missiles get away. So he's going to get locked down here, and it looks like we are able to break those guys, but our guys are also wavering, which is a little bit scary. So damn, I wish they didn't waver there. That would have been nice to like get them over there. So we're going to go get these Chaos Warhounds with these Wild Riders, hopefully secure that situation. We do have our Lord kind of poking away at Big Bird. Let's see if we want to use like an Arrow of Kurnus. We can use it on these Chaos Warriors in the front line. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to go see if we can let's actually go after this Manticore. I feel like I need to shut that down to like open up my missile game. Yeah, and it looks like most of my opponent's army broke at that point, or was, you know, going pretty downhill, but I didn't think it was over quite yet. But yeah, I suppose it was. Like, he had lost a lot in the back line, and I had Wild Riders running around. My Lord was in good shape. Big Bird was trapped. So yeah, good stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed the Wood Elves that game. I mean, that was really fun. I mean, granted, yeah, his army was interesting. The Manticores aren't bad. I mean, they definitely put some pressure on me. I like the Chaos Warriors. The Forsaken definitely underperformed, but we did a pretty good job of like focusing them with missiles, and also we were able to kite out the Chaos Knights with those Hagbane tips. That was really cool stuff. But yeah, definitely fun. If you guys have any did I not even bring? Oh, I did bring the Starfire Shafts. I was gonna say. So if you guys have any pro tips for the Wood Elves, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. Definitely would appreciate that. But again, well played to my opponent, the Oat Lord. Definitely like the name. So more content coming soon, guys. Stay tuned.